an aging pitcher, one that has kind of the persona that we kind of are saying Hendricks should have, but hasn't even lived up necessarily to the reputation of that, is Zack Greinke, who is going as a starting pitcher at 91. Unfortunately, I think his better days are behind him. He turned 33 in October. He's playing in a horrible pitcher's park, and being signed till he could basically retire. I'm not really sure there's much motivation left for good old Uncle Ricola. But maybe that's an unfair statement to make. I mean, I truly see him being a grade below what we've come to expect when you hear his name, but he is still good. Uh, it's just you're expecting him to be this stud all-star. And if you look at his numbers, he's had good whip, he's had good ERAs, logged innings, et cetera, et cetera. He's only come close to winning 20 games once when he won 19, and that's coming close to winning 20. He's never even won 20 once. So I don't know how we can necessarily talk about him as this great stud pitcher that he seems to, be thought of. Do you have a problem with that as well?
Yeah, and good old Uncle Ricola, as you like to call him, the Swiss Miss stud. Zack Greinke, it's funny, we think alike because the first thing that I have in my show notes is his best days are behind him. And I totally believe that. If you look across the board, not only did he move to a worse pitching environment, obviously Arizona, other than Colorado, is probably the best hitting park in baseball. He's also in a division with the Rockies, so he's going to see them a little bit more than we did, obviously, remain in the NL West. So I don't know how much that's a deterrent, but I think when you compound that with Chase Field, I think it adds up. The other thing is across the board, his fly balls were up. His hard contact was up. His home run per nine was 1.30, which is awful. As I mentioned, the ground ball declined by almost 3%. His home run to fly ball doubled from what it was in his last season in LA. Velocity was down on all of his pitches. His swing and strike rate dropped from 12% to 10.4%. And, just across the board, hitters are making better and more contact in and out of the zone in his pitches. So, right across the board, Greinke had a down year. He was a little bit injured, but, maybe he doesn't have an awful year in 2017, but certainly doesn't justify the price tag and his current ADP.
Yeah, he was dealing with the strained oblique in 2016. He should start the season fully recovered. But, as he advances in age, does that mean he's necessarily fully back? I mean, is it completely behind him? Is it something that could flare up again? I'm not, concerned so much about that as much as I am with the other things we were talking about with his home park, with his never being a solid wins kind of guy. One thing I did want to point out, which is absolutely crazy to me, is that while he would have finished tied for 20th in run support with 5.3 runs per game had he qualified, he won 13 out of his 26 starts, despite giving up nearly a career worst 4.37 ERA. I mean, just think about that for a minute. He only started 26 games, and he factored into, not only did he factor in the decision in half of those, but he got wins in half of those. Mm-hmm. And he was getting not even a full run support more than what he was giving up a game. I mean, that just doesn't necessarily add up. That's the stars being aligned in your favor. He's a statistical anomaly. Like I said, I want to believe he'll be good. I just don't think he'll be great. And if you're paying starting pitcher 21 price, you're expecting him to be a top 20 pitcher. And I just don't know that he still has that left in him. Just kind of to fill everybody in on the Uncle Ricola thing. Tahal and I, the Lord, Mr. Beddick, when we were doing Roto RX last year, we referred to Zack Greinke as somebody that looked like he belonged on a Swiss Miss box or in a Ricola commercial blowing the whatever the Swiss horn is. So that's the Uncle Ricola reference. Now you know.
Ricola.